I'll provide you with some tips on how to use the templates, the poster templates that are provided. You have 4 templates. 3 of them are a version of 3 columns with different sizes, while the 4th one is basically 2 columns, so will allow you a little bit more freedom in what you can do. So going back to the standard type, as you can see here on the top, the poster template has a section that matches what NDSU is using now for branding and you've seen it everywhere, so we try to match this one, so make it look the same or similar for everybody. What you have besides this part that is predefined for you, there are a set of text boxes like this one where you can add your title. So just if you select this one and say title of my poster, then you can have the title of the poster. You can use all capital or capitalize the first letter, depends on which style you use. Also here you can change what is the default there and just put your name and your credentials and so forth. So far you can just edit anything in these text boxes. In addition to text boxes, I created several boxes that are mainly set up as a box that can be reshaped and reorganized, replaced everywhere you want. And the advantage of this style is that you can then create a combination of such boxes that will allow you to place the text in the shape and form that you want. Difference between a text box is that a text box and a regular box with text in it, the text box will not allow you to change the size until you just add more text, and the default for some reason is white here, so you need to change it to a different color. How to add a box? So it's as simple as going to the functions, editing functions in PowerPoint, the same that you have in Word. Insert shapes and just pick a box, and then you'll have a default color which is set up for your computer. If you right click under format shape, you'll have 2 options here under the fill and line. The fill will allow you to change the color. I suggest to use a light pastel like color because it's easier to put different color of text. And if you want to make it even lighter, if once you selected a color under more colors here, you'll be able to change the color to what do you want. How to add text? Either go to insert shape and pick the text box and place it in the middle. You'll see that's placed in the middle. I'll go to home, so the font size is 72. Probably you have to go to something smaller. The color, you just pick the text of the color here and then you start typing it. The default setup of the text in a box is centered text. You can change that one going under format shape. The last one, size and properties, if you go to text box, the first one will allow you to put it on the top, and then you can select from the upper menu here the left justified if you want left justified and not centered text. And then from there you can just move around and just edit the text as you want. Sometimes, because the default size of the poster on the screen is about 23-25, it's easier to increase. Just go up, down here, and just increase, zoom in. And here with this, you can decide what will be the better placement of your text, what you want to do. If you want to insert a bullet or numbered bullet, you can just do this. I strongly recommend to avoid too much text and change the text with bullet points or numerical points or whatever will fit better what you have here. In addition to this, you can decide on how big the box needs to be, and if you want to the default box has a border. If you want that line to not be there and just match what I already have here, just to be a background color, underline, so fill in line, no line, and then here you are, you have just a background color. So you can move it around so it will be nicely aligned, and you can see, if you move it around, you see those red lines that will show you how it's aligned based on what. And just delete this text box, and you can just then expand it and add what you want. When you insert a figure from insert pictures and find a picture on your desktop, that image will stay on top or will be on bottom, depending on which one was the first one. In this case, the image was there, I placed this text box, will show up on top of it. If you right click, you can send it to back, and then you'll see the image here. So the image will be overlaying with the text box in this case. So you cannot insert an image in a text box, but if you want to mimic that, you can have this text box align nicely so that will be bordering the image. Then you can actually click on this one, copy, and then paste it, and the new one you can just reshape it to fit the size of what's remaining here. So now you have a nice line up background that will include this image, and then you can add the caption for that image. You can, for example, use this one, copy, paste, and then move this one here, reshape it, and because this text will just reshape the whole text, and then you have a nice image embedded in a certain background. Of course, if you don't want this and you want just what I have as an example here, you just can replicate and replace what is here with your images. For a table, I created a sample table here. I want to warn you that this was to get to this shape. If you want to do it this way, you need to work a little bit around, because if you go under insert here, table, you select the number of columns, you see you get a pretty big table, so you'll need to reshape it. And then if you want to work the colors, format shape, it's already there, so it's the same function. You can replace that one with some darker background. You can replace each line with a lighter background color. Let's see, you want to make this one yellow, and then if you want to add line, just select the cells that you want to add the line to, and right click, and right here you have this border option. So you can have a border everywhere for these ones, or you can have a border that's only top, or just you have to select it, or you can just cut the border all over if you don't like it. If you want to get rid of these colors, then you select these cells, and here you just say no fill, and if you select all this, then you'll have a white set of cells. But in this case, it's a good idea to add at least a border on the top, so you'll know where the table starts. You can play with these tables, you can play with the fill, you can play with the colors, you can play with the borders, and decide, just with right clicks typically, decide what exactly you want to create, what exactly you want to show. You can also use the typical functions. If you want to have these two merge, you just select them, right click, and just say merge cells. So now you have only one cell there. So you can play exactly like what you use in Word. Don't forget, and I created this table caption. You can actually copy this one like you did with like I showed with the image, and just put it here and just edit it, change the shape, change the size, modify the font if you want, modify the font color. So you can just use elements that I already put here to create your own content. Each of the boxes also has some tips. It's including some tips about the size, the font size, the color, the box, how you use it. We created two sections that are defined, conclusions and references, so that you will make sure that you don't forget these two, as they are important. And also the references, you'll use the style that is now, I'll just close this one, provided for you, the information about this style, National Library of Medicine. This is an example of how the references should look and how you should cite these references. If you want to make sure that you have an image like this one, and make sure that the image looks good, here at the bottom you can go to 100% and then move around until you get to your image and see if it's clear enough, if it's sharp, because sometimes if you take an image from internet, that might be not of a required quality, so it'd be better off either to reproduce that one, do something equivalent, or find a better one. So here it's one way where 100% is just telling you about this is the actual size, so you can just move back like a few feet and see, is this readable, looks good, is the image clear enough, are the numbers in the image and the text on the image readable. Or you can decide if you want this image to be bigger and placed a little bit different. So you have this option of zooming in and out, and then going back to about 20% to see what's the big picture. So we created these templates with the goal of ensuring some sort of institutional identity for your posters, but the main goal was to help you spend less time in deciding how to create this poster, the graphics, the text size, and all these design elements, and use that time to work and improve the content of your research. That is the important part. And makes a difference in what you show to your potential viewers in the end. Now, please feel free to use this. I'm pretty much sure that everything I show here, you already know how to insert a certain image, a certain shape, how to change font, how to change background colors for the text boxes and the boxes that you include there. But I just wanted to make sure that you have one place where you refresh this and just spend less time on editing the poster and more time on making sure that the content that's going into the poster is of the highest possible quality.